How's it going, you wonderful people? It's Jay, and in today's video we're going to be looking at how Nintendo revolutionized the game controller with this, the NES or NES controller back in the 80s. Whenever you pick up your PlayStation, your Xbox, your Wii, your Dreamcast, your 3DS, any of these consoles, the heart of Nintendo's classic controllers remains throughout. And today we're going to look at the process, we're going to look at how Nintendo devised this incredibly simple but incredible controller way back in the 80s. Recently I got this, the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch Edition. It's incredibly simple, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. A D-pad, 2 buttons, plays games, that's it. And at 3 AM I couldn't sleep, I went down this rabbit hole of Nintendo history, looking at old magazine cutouts, prototypes, interviews, and you'd be surprised, there was so much that actually went into this. We see this as the iconic controller, but Nintendo had so many challenges and stumbling blocks creating the NES. The mid-70s and early 80s were all about experimentation. There was no clear definition of what made a video game controller. Everyone wanted a slice of the gaming pie, like the iconic Atari Pong console from way back in 1975, with a single dial to control those Pong paddles. A year later we also had this weird alien-like joystick probes from the Fairchild Channel F, and those who wanted a full arcade experience at the home could have gotten this beast, which had a gun, a wheel and Pong dials. It was the Telstar Arcade. Possibly the most iconic out of the lot had to be the Atari 2600 in 1977, with the joystick design that became synonymous with old school gaming. 2 controllers, each with a stick and a button. Pure simplicity in a single shell. Others tried to create controllers that would be held like TV remotes, like the slightly bizarre Intellivision or the overly complicated Coleco ColoVision, something that looked like it was designed to read your brainwaves. One of the first more portable consoles was the Arcadia 2001. It was small enough to hook up to a portable TV, though it does look like something that would power a deadly laser to chop up a secret agent.
Do you expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
The problem seemed to be an overcomplicated setup. The industry needed something new, it needed something fresh. Nintendo had a lot of success with the Donkey Kong arcade game, but were eager to get into the home console market. Led by designer Masayuki Umura, they wanted to create a console that delivered a great experience but kept all those costs down. No keyboard, no modem, but a classic Nintendo expansion port, just in case. Simple. In an interview with Umura, he noted how the mission was the basic entire cost for the device should be around 5,000 yen. That was the objective. The retail price would be 15,000 yen, but it was almost impossible to do. Umura and the Nintendo team pulled it off with a cheap chip and custom graphics to power the beast. But what about the controller itself? 2 buttons and a D-pad. The designers were inspired by the simplicity of the Game & Watch handhelds that Nintendo had toyed with in the early 80s. Back then, it was all that games needed, not a keypad, not a giant joystick with all these numbers and buttons. The iconic D-pad could have been something different though, as Nintendo did start with creating a joystick prototype for the NES, but the concern was that kids could possibly step on the thing and break it.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Umura and his team were sat next to the Game & Watch division at Nintendo HQ, who helped out. He recalls how Nintendo only had this pad type of design for Game & Watch, so we just put it onto our device as a test and it worked well, so they decided to use it. And for Nintendo it really came down to cost, something that's easy to produce and affordable for families, and it's that simplicity and limitation that helped Nintendo focus on that goal, keep it easy for players to understand, to pick up and play, and just let the games do all the talking. With 2 action buttons and a D-pad, Nintendo and other NES developers went on to create some incredible iconic games, setting the standard in both controller and gameplay. The Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Bros, Metroid, all these incredible action games that went beyond the simple Pong roots that consumed the other console creators. And that is the story of the NES controller. It could have been very, very different, but Nintendo kept it simple, and we see all these mechanics bleed through to consoles today. So there we go, a little trip through time, looking at how Nintendo brewed up one of the most influential controllers of all time, something that truly defined classic gaming and can be seen decades later in the games that we play today. If you guys want to get your retro fix, be sure to check out our merch. We've got exclusive classic designs voted for by you. Links are in the description below. And if you like this little piece of Nintendo history, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more geeky gaming and Nintendo videos, subscribe. And we'll see you wonderful people in the next video. Thanks for watching.